I've installed the pistons and tightened the connecting rods, meaning the crankshaft is fully tightened. And we can see there is this kind of longitudinal play. We can also see that all the connecting rods move freely with just hand force, nothing is jammed. I will now install the counterweights. The counterweights are cleaned and the bolts are prepared with thread locker. This segment is called This is Interesting. Let's see how much one counterweight weighs. 3 kilograms, 830 grams, 4 kilograms, 880 grams. Well, in general, 4,800. One counterweight weighs about that on average. We have 10 counterweights here, totaling 45 kilograms on this crankshaft. 2 of them are very small. So the crankshaft is fully installed, tightened, the main bearings are tightened, the connecting rods are tightened and installed, the counterweights are installed and tightened. That means the entire crankshaft is in place. So now I double checked all the connecting rods to make sure nothing is mixed up by number. I also checked again and looked at the numbers on the main journals, 3, 4, 5, 6. I also rechecked the counterweights. The markings are visible, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So we're done with the crankshaft. The crankshaft is in place. So what's my next task? What am I going to do next? I'll install the front and rear covers, but I don't have them ready yet. I'm going to work on it now. Everything is washed, just need to clean up, replace the oil seal and run a tap through the threads for the front. As for the rear cover, here we have, so for the rear cover we have here a compressor repair is coming up. It's not just a repair, we're also going to do a small modification here. The customer requested to modify the single-cylinder compressor into 2 twin-cylinder compressors with 1 cylinder in the current location and the second cylinder in a different position. Well, basically in that direction. So now I'm going to work on the casing, cut the threads, disassemble the compressor, and so on. So I've already installed the front cover, put in a new oil seal and installed the cover with a new gasket using sealant. For now I've just covered the engine like this. I'm going to work on the casing here, blow some parts out, do a few other things so that dust doesn't get in there. I took it apart, this part, and set it aside. What we will be replacing, well, the cylinder obviously needs to be replaced. It has this kind of wear on it. So the piston too, well, obviously both the cylinder and the piston need to be replaced. The connecting rod will also need to be replaced. As mentioned, we will be making a 2-cylinder compressor, and that's why we will need to install another crankshaft with a wide journal. The connecting rods will be slightly narrower. We also have new connecting rods. So the bearing needs to be replaced and the oil seal needs to be replaced too. Basically, we will remove all of this and now we will wash all of this. I'll wash the cover again to remove oil and clean the gaskets. Now I'll clean everything before starting the assembly. I have washed and cleaned the cover and degreased everything. It's all ready to go. The old parts that remain, I also washed and cleaned them. And now I'll show what new parts we'll be installing. So there will be a new crankshaft. We can see the crankshaft here with such a wide journal for 2 connecting rods. So new parts, 2 cylinders, bearings, a bearing, 2 repair kits. There are valve gaskets. This is a bushing. This is the rear support and 2 new connecting rods. Alright, let's begin the assembly. So, I've assembled the compressor, and this is how it spins now. Everything is great, there is no play anywhere, nothing at all. Everything turned out great. I haven't installed the heads yet because they would get in the way. I need to flip the engine over now. On second thought, installing the cylinder might have been a mistake. That is, I might have to remove it now because, well, this is the bottom of the engine. The way it's standing right now, this is the bottom. In general, I don't know. It might get in my way probably. Alright, we'll see as we go. I won't install the heads yet as there will be difficulties. I'll need to make some jumpers. So, all these tubes looking for T-fittings, we'll deal with all that later. So, now I'm installing the oil seal. I've already prepared the gasket. I'm installing the oil seal and then we'll put on the cover. Everything is ready. The flywheel housing, compressor and oil seal are done. All threads have been checked and everything has been reviewed. Finally, we recheck the timing marks before closing the cover. The camshaft can be freely rotated with 2 marks on the camshaft and 1 on the crankshaft. With everything degreased and wiped down, the bolts are ready. Open the gaskets, apply sealant and install them. Our new flywheel is sealed but slightly dirty and stained from lying in the body. We will open it up, inspect it and proceed with the installation. Alright, so, well, visually it's intact. Sometimes flywheels arrive with this rim broken off. Yeah, all sorts of things happen. So let's check. It looks visually intact. First, we're interested in the degrees and scale, which is sometimes missing. Next, let's check if the seal ring is present, as it can also be absent. We also need to check the flywheel fit according to the manual. In rare cases, the fit can be loose. So we see that the bushing fits tightly, everything is good. Now I'll wipe it a bit with this preservative and then we'll install it. The flywheel is installed and the basket is tightened but not yet installed. The oil gasket and relief valve will be replaced, with the gasket being transferred from the old oil pickup to the new one. So I washed the oil pan inside once more. After cleaning, I rinsed it again with solvent, and all the remaining dirt that was there has been washed out. So I want to show you this moment. People often ask me why I use both sealant and a gasket, so I'm showing you the condition of the surface where the gasket sits. That is, as we can see, there is corrosion. There are pits, meaning this is an engine from 1986 and 35 years can't just pass without a trace. Here, maybe the bolts were a little loose, and as a result, water got in, so there's oxidation and so on. We can see there are pits, well, let's say on this side there are fewer of them, so just to be on the safe side, to be sure that oil won't leak through these pits, that's why I use sealant. The oil pan is installed and tightened. I need to turn the engine over to install the cylinder heads, but they aren't ready yet. The cylinder heads have returned from the surface grinding machine. They look excellent after being surface ground. Here's what I'll be doing with the cylinder heads: replacing the exhaust valve guides, reaming and possibly narrowing them, lapping the valves, replacing seals, and so on. I've already replaced the guides on several heads, but now I'll show and explain everything as I go along. So I heat the head to about 50 to 60 degrees. It shows around 60 degrees. I heat the head, knock out the old guide, and install the new one. So this is how I replace all the exhaust guides. The intake ones are still in good condition. Be sure to check the diameter of both the old and new guide bushings. They may come in repair sizes or with a larger diameter. That is, of course, we ordered the ones that are supposed to be, but sometimes mistakes happen or there could be something else, so it's better to double check. So that's it. I've replaced the guide bushings. Everything is good. It worked out. Everything is excellent. Next, I'll work on the valves, reaming the seats and inspecting their condition. I'll record the valves' condition with another camera. So, about the valves. When I disassembled them, I marked which valves came from which head. But now it doesn't really matter to me anymore because I've already checked the condition of the working chamfer. There is wear, there are pits. Somewhere more, somewhere less. For example, on this one, the pits are clearly visible. So basically, they're all in this kind of condition. Here you can see the wear and also the exhaust valves. So what's my task now? Now I'll clean the valves a bit with a wire brush, then I'll use the machine to resurface the working edge of the valve, and then I'll lap them. So the heads are ready, or rather the seats have already been reamed. Now I can start lapping, along the seats. I made the intake seats just a bit narrower and the exhaust seats. I first adjusted the working bevel to 45 degrees and reduced its width. Everything is now ready for me to start lapping the valves. I'll lap them as usual, using a drill, lapping paste and oil to lubricate the stem. Let's get started. So that means all the valves are lapped. Each valve has an imprint from the seat. I'm now ready to assemble the heads. I have the caps, valve stem seals, springs, cleaned washers, keepers and oil for lubricating the stem. Let's put the heads together. So that's it, the heads are assembled, the heads are ready. So what's next? What do? I take the bolts, I take the gaskets, I turn the engine over and I'm going to install the heads onto the engine. So I've turned the engine over, I've already installed the guides for the heads, I've prepared the gaskets, I've prepared the bolts, now I'm going to install the heads. When I was disassembling, I showed that the pistons, the top part of the piston crown, has some play in the cylinder, in the sleeve. So I want to show how things are with the new piston assembly. So we can see that the pistons have almost the same amount of play. This is how it should be. It's a design feature of pistons. In general, any piston, not just in this engine, but any piston should have this kind of movement. Yes, especially in the upper part at the piston crown. Why? Because by design the piston is made so that the crown of the piston is smaller than the skirt. That is, the largest size is at the skirt, and even at the bottom of the skirt, yes, down there at the bottom of the piston, the skirt is still oval shaped. And the piston crown itself is made about a millimeter smaller depending on the engine, depending on the size of the piston and so on. So why is this done? The combustion chamber experiences very high temperatures, causing this part of the piston to heat up the most. That's why there's this kind of play in the pistons. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'll even say more. If there is no play, let's say if there is no play in the compressor, for example, nothing's burning here, it's just heated air compression. Of course, it's not to the same extent as when fuel burns. Here we won't have that kind of play. Well, we can see it and there is a little bit of it. So this should be there in any case. There's no way without it. That's it. Now I'm installing the gaskets and I'm installing the heads. Many people have commented on the video I made showing the play in these pistons during disassembly. Many people wrote there, Pashatajka, Kapover, and so on. So I don't know. Well, as I understand it, this is some kind of well-known topic in general. A well-known, some kind of popular topic regarding these things. Shake the piston. Yes, honestly, I watch very few other bloggers, auto repair channels and so on. So, I don't know, it's just that I already have enough of my own stuff. When, let's say, I have time to watch something, I usually watch something about traveling and so on. That is, just to take my mind off this topic. Although I understand that it's probably a mistake, I could watch and learn from others' experience, so to speak, and so on. Well, when possible, of course, I do watch sometimes, yeah. Also, the first episode about assembling this engine was released today, May 1st. Now, 5 hours after the episode's release, it has received many likes, positive comments and donations. Thank you to everyone who supports with likes, good comments and donations. Thank you all so much. That's how it is. So, I'll also say that I'm asking you to leave a like. Yes, it's not because I need it for myself or because I'm such a great master and you rated me highly or anything like that. I'm asking you to like this video solely due to YouTube's algorithms, not for any other reason. That is, so that YouTube sees activity on this video and promotes it. That's just how it works. A new video comes out, regular viewers leave likes, write comments, so there's activity. It starts promoting this video further, recommending it to people who maybe haven't even watched, possibly my channel yet, and so on. To reiterate, likes are only needed for algorithms, nothing else, that's it. And also, I repeat under this video, whoever leaves a like or whoever writes a comment, thank you all very much, because I repeat once again, these are the main principles of how it works. Thank you all for your support. Let's continue the assembly. So the heads are installed and tightened. Next I would need to install the fuel injector pump, but I don't have it yet. And today is the first day of May, but I'll only have this fuel equipment by the 5th. So tomorrow is a day off. Tomorrow is Easter, so I won't be working tomorrow. That means I'll start from the 3rd. Here we'll adjust the valve, close the manifold. I need to make the heads for the compressor. Well, install the filter there, the pulley and the pump. In general, there's still work to do. The main reason for our downtime right now is the fuel equipment. That is, we're waiting for the equipment. With the cylinder heads installed and tightened, I'm now installing the rocker arm shafts. They've been cleaned, checked and lubricated prior to installation. So the rocker arm is installed and tightened. Next, I'll immediately adjust the valves. I'll do it according to the firing order of the cylinders. So I have the firing order written down, and now I need to bring one cylinder to top dead center, specifically on the compression stroke. Compression. People often ask me in Viber and WhatsApp, they frequently ask questions about valve adjustment, fuel setup, the pump, and often people get confused, thinking that you just need to bring the first cylinder to top dead center. In a 4-stroke engine, the piston reaches top dead center twice per cycle, specifically during the compression stroke. That is, first we have the injection and the second time is the scavenging phase, meaning the valve overlap. We need to catch exactly the injection stroke. So what needs to be done for this? So I was turning it clockwise. If you look from the side of the pulley, I was turning it clockwise. And now we can see that my intake valve has just actuated, meaning it is pressed down. Now I'm turning the engine further clockwise by the flywheel and setting the marks. Ensure the first cylinder is at top dead center, 0-1 during the compression stroke. Many people mistakenly set the first cylinder to top dead center without considering the specific stroke. which can lead to being 1 revolution off. After I set the first cylinder to top dead center on the compression stroke, I adjust the valves on this cylinder. Then, since this is a 10-cylinder engine, our journals are positioned at an angle of 72 degrees. I've marked the flywheel, I'll show you now. I adjust the first cylinder, rotate it 72 degrees, adjust the 6th cylinder, rotate it another 72 degrees, adjust the 5th cylinder, rotate 72 degrees more, and adjust the 10th cylinder. Well, basically it works in order. Using the first cylinder as an example, I'll demonstrate how to adjust the valves. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that I set the clearance to 0.05 for both the intake and exhaust valves. The only thing is, I make the intake valve a bit tighter and the exhaust valve a bit looser. The valves are adjusted, I turned it 2 revolutions, and now I'm back to the first cylinder at top dead center on the compression stroke. I marked the camshaft to ensure proper fuel injection pump installation. Now I'll close the valves and the covers so I don't have to hide them later. I'll use this mark as a reference. Now I'm closing the valve covers. So I've tightened the valve covers, installed the sensor here, the fitting, the loop, and put on the oil filter. I'm now installing the pump with a bit of sealant applied. The pump, let me remind you, was new. I didn't do anything with the pump, just washed it, cleaned off the old gasket, applied a little sealant, took the gasket and installed it. The pump is installed and tightened. Next, I'm installing the pulley and have cleaned the threads for the fan mounting. So, well, right now the engine is in this condition. Everything is almost completely assembled like this. So now I just need to install the fuel pump and injectors, but I don't have them yet. So there was information that I should be getting them today. We agreed that I would have them by this evening, and I thought I would install them either tonight or tomorrow. It's already here. I need to either start it up or paint it. Something needs to be done. But it turned out that the fuel system isn't ready yet, and it won't even be ready tomorrow. That means maybe the day after tomorrow. In general, it's still unknown for now. That means it turns out I'm losing 2 days right now. That means I want to assemble as much as possible right now, so that later all I have left is to install the injectors and the pump. So now I'm going to install the air manifolds. Same here. I prepared everything, washed it, cleaned it. Continuing with the assembly, I started working on the cylinder heads. Here is the cylinder head I want to show. That is, we can see this plate here. Yes, this valve, the intake valve, it turns out. Someone assembled it like this, installed it, and there are just these guides here. They just peened them over like rivets, so I couldn't remove the plate, and it broke on me like this. Here, I don't know if it's visible on camera or not. There, so I put all of this aside. The other heads we have are already valve type. I've cleaned all the plates, installed them, put in new gaskets, new plates, washed and cleaned the heads as well, and now I'm screwing the plugs back in. Here I have a sample of how it should be, so I look at it and use it as a reference for where each fitting goes, how the heads should be positioned, and so on. Yes, well, so I did it the same way as on this head. We see this is our air supply, this is our air outlet, this is the coolant supply, and the coolant outlet goes through the cylinder. That's it, so I prepared the head like this, now I'll be installing it. Well, that's it. I installed the heads, tightened them. Now I need to look at the pipes here and see where everything will go. It's the same, from the block to the cylinder, then from this head to this cylinder, and then back to the block. Well, and also the air supply. I need to make some kind of T-connector, and also for the air outlet, again, some kind of T-connector. I'll handle everything now. Here's how things are going. I installed one coolant pipe, bent it. The one that was going to the block, I bent it to the cylinder, and from this head to the block, for now, I installed it like this. Maybe after I install the fuel pump, I'll see if it gets in the way or not. Maybe I'll put in a solid pipe without a hose. I have a pipe, I just need to bend it for the air supply. I need to go to a store and look for a T-connector. I need to think about the air outlet. Here I made it, put in a T-connector, and everything is already connected. This is our original factory pipe. All that's left is to connect this cylinder to the outlet using a pipe like this. Found a piece like this, but nothing is working out yet. We'll keep thinking about it. Today I was supposed to have the pump. I was supposed to have the pump already in the injectors. I just found out. Today it definitely won't be here. Tomorrow it definitely won't be here either. And maybe only the day after tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. So basically in 2 days, roughly speaking. Why? What is the reason for this? They took apart the pump and the bearings had fallen apart. Basically, the bearings were ruined. Basically, it's a major repair. They're doing a lot of things, so that's how it is. So what do I do next? The engine is mostly assembled with only the pump, injectors and some pipes remaining. I'm now installing the clutch basket, disc and a new basket before adjusting the clutch. Next, I've already installed the thermostats here and put in these pipes. In the comments, people ask me why there are 2 thermostats, but I think it's just a physical thing. One thermostat's capacity is too small, and a larger one can't be installed. This universal pump is installed on many engines, making it truly universal. And that's why they installed 2 thermostats. They are absolutely identical. People wrote in the comments that they are different in terms of temperature. They can be 79 or 83. Here we have 83 installed. I still have work to do on the engine, including the collectors, which aren't ready yet. I need to remove the jumper from the engine brake and work on the collector clutch, among other things. And tomorrow I have a free day. That is, I don't have any work on the engine. I won't assemble the gearbox yet because the workbenches are occupied. I need to clear a workbench first, and only then can I start on the gearbox. I don't have all the gearbox parts yet. I'll work on this tomorrow. This is the transfer case from the same car. It's massive. Truthfully, I'm not an expert when it comes to transfer cases. The customer asked me to check the bearings and oil seals, but I probably won't completely disassemble it. I'm not sure, as I usually don't work on transfer cases, I mostly have other kinds of work. My work is related to buses, and buses usually don't have these kinds of units. The only time I worked on a transfer case was on a Ural we have here. Basically, it's a tractor that tows a broken down bus. So I did a transfer case on the Ural, but that was, I don't know, a long time ago already. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'll probably take it apart. I think it'll work out. I won't be able to post a video. I'll see how things go here. So I'm not familiar with this unit, I don't even know it, but I still plan to make a separate video about the transfer case for the channel. That's it. Now I'll move on to the clutch. We have a new finger type clutch basket just like the old one and a new disc. Now I'm unpacking the disc, going to the lathe, clamping the shaft, checking the runout and installing it. So the basket is installed and tightened. Now I need to adjust it. The pad is too far and has sunk in. It needs to be moved closer. I measured from the plane to the pad and it's about 12 0.59 inches. The angle bracket I have is 1.5 inches. So that means plus another, let's say 13, so that's 53 in total. That's it. So we remove these locks and adjust